What's up guys, Ryan here. Hope you guys are all doing well. Hope you guys are safe, healthy, and happy wherever you are in this world. And in this video, I just want to share my exact process on how I went from just learning how to code in February of 2020 to now officially becoming a software developer in May of 2021. If you're thinking about also becoming a software developer, make sure to stick around because there might be some key points in here that I think would be valuable to you. If you're not trying to become a software developer, I'm not sure why you're watching this video, but who knows, maybe you're an OG, maybe you follow me from TikTok or whatever, and this is just me giving you guys my life update, so hope you can enjoy. Hopefully some things I share will be applicable to your side of life as well. Alright, so long story short, I moved to Seattle in February of 2020 from Hawaii in order to learn how to drive the 18-wheeler truck. So I moved here. A week later, the pandemic started, everything shut down. I only went to trucking school for 1 week. And during that 3-month shutdown period, my friends who are developers here suggested, why don't you learn how to code? There's nothing better to do anyway. So I said, sure. I started with Swift because I always wanted to learn how to make iPhone apps. So I did that, and I ended up creating my very first app on the App Store called Practical Japanese. I launched that in September of last year, I believe. It was August or September of last year, I can't remember exactly. And soon after is when I started trucking. So I did the over-the-road trucking for almost 4 months. Yeah, so I quit my job December 21st of 2020, and December 22nd, the day after, is when I really went all in deciding that, okay, I want to become a software developer. I'm going to spend 100% of my time and efforts into learning how to do this so I can get a job. Before I even started my trucking job, I had bought a course off of Udemy. I did 50% of that course, and at that point I was able to make my first app on the App Store. But yeah, I quit the job, and on December 22nd, I bought my second course on Udemy from Colt Steele, and I think that was called like the Ultimate Web Developer Bootcamp or something like that. And I also did around 50% of that course. The first 50% of it was just HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And the reason why I decided to do that is because I saw that the majority of the job postings online were for web developers, and I did it. It was cool, but it just wasn't something. I was more interested in mobile, and I was just stubborn, and I wanted to learn that some more. So I did that course over the course of 2 weeks, and then I decided, okay, you know what, like, I feel like I spent so much time learning Swift. I got to a pretty decent point, and now I'm starting from square one again with web development. So I decided I'm just so much better at Swift. The chances of me getting a job appear to be better at Swift because it's going to take me that much longer to learn web development from zero. So I decided to put that away and go back to Swift at that point. So this was early January of 2021. So coincidentally, right after that, I had some friends back in Hawaii who messaged me, and they asked me if I could create a Pomodoro timer for them. So I figured, sure, I'm pretty sure apps like that already exist, but I'll give it a go because I think it'll be a good opportunity for me to further my learning, and it could be a good way to boost my portfolio on my resume. It took me quite a while because I was still learning a lot of the key components of Swift, like UI table views and important stuff like that, how to persist data, and how to make an API network call, stuff like that. I did that, and that really was like the next big push of my learning, and I released that to the App Store so they could use it. They were happy. I was pretty happy with it too, and from that point, I had to figure out what am I going to do next to improve my learning. There was also some things going through my mind as to whether or not I was ready, because online, I've read in so many different places that Swift UI is where Apple is going, but then there's another large group of people who say that Swift UI is not what companies want or need right now. And if you really want to build a serious app, you need to learn Storyboard and UI Kit or understand how things are done programmatically, and people really aren't moving towards Swift UI yet. Beginning of April, I am finally ready to start looking for jobs. So I started looking for jobs in the beginning of April, and I started applying for jobs 2 weeks later. And there are a few key things I learned through this process that I wanted to share with you. First of all, I noticed right away that there are much less junior developer positions than I thought there would be, especially for iOS. There are a decent amount of iOS developer jobs out there, but the majority of them are for senior positions. I hardly found any for junior positions, so to be honest, many of the jobs that I've been applying to are for just standard iOS developer positions, not junior developer positions. And a lot of them want like 3+ years of experience, which obviously I don't have. But I still applied for them anyway. If I looked at the job description and like the skills required, if I could do all of, or like 60% of those things, I would still apply for these jobs anyway, even if I don't meet the amount of work experience that they want. I was exposed to C# for the first time in March of this year, and .NET Core, and I really love that. I think it's such a brilliant way to create a website. I was so much more interested in web development when I was introduced to .NET Core than when I was first introduced to it in December when I bought that course on Udemy. Also, C# is such a powerful language. Like, it can be used across so many different platforms. Like, you can do anything with a general programming language like C#. So when I was doing my job search, I found that there are just an insanely greater amount of available jobs for developers who know C# and another general programming language like Java or Python, and even web development too, like HTML, CSS, JavaScript. There are just way more jobs available for those than there are for iOS developers. So if I were to start this all over again, I'd probably tell myself to be open-minded and not be so stubborn about wanting to just stick with iOS development specifically. So I was already like so deep down in the rabbit hole of Swift and native iOS development that I decided that the chances of me getting a job with Swift is just so much greater than the others, then I'll continue down this path. But if I were to do it all over again, I'd probably tell myself to learn a more general, widely used technology like C# and .NET Core, or Flutter or React Native, just because it would probably make the job search that much easier when it's time for you to actually find a job. The other thing that I wanted to share is that I did not go through a bootcamp. My friend who lives here, his sister actually did a bootcamp the previous year. It was 3 months, and then she was able to find a job pretty quickly thereafter. So I was considering that, but I really didn't want to spend $15,000 to do this, because I already did know how to code like a decent amount, and looking at their curriculum, it didn't look like I would learn too many new things. So essentially, I would have just been paying for like the brand name or like a certification to say that I completed a bootcamp, and maybe their connections that they have to whatever jobs. But I was just going back and forth a lot, and I wasn't sure if that was worth it for me. So I just decided, because I'm not sure yet, I won't do it. I'll save my money, and I'll just be disciplined and learn by myself every single day. And that's pretty much what I did. I just literally for 10 hours a day or more every single day, I just got zoned out and I lost myself in my computer, and I just hardcore taught myself how to code from scratch like that. Luckily, I had a business where it was providing me enough passive income every month where I could live and not have to find a job and just focus on my coding. So I was very lucky in that way. If you really want to learn how to code, you really do need to dedicate a lot of time and effort into doing it. Otherwise, it's just like, if you're only doing it like 3 hours a day after work or something, it will take a good while, because there's a lot of different things you need to learn. Things are constantly changing. You're constantly going to be finding new bugs and problems that you've never seen before, and it's for all of these problems, that's the first time you're seeing it. It's going to take you a long time to figure it out. But later on, after you've encountered a similar problem, it'll be faster for you to figure it out. But in the beginning, like any other skill, it just takes time. But that's why you really need to know that this is an activity that you enjoy, because it'll help you push through all the frustrating times. All right, so to bring it all together, I think if you're like me and you're doing a career switch and you want to become a self-taught software developer, the things that you really need is concentrated time and effort and dedication to learning, because it's really going to take a long time. And if you still need to work while learning how to do this, I hope you will set aside at least like 4 to 5 hours every single day after work for an extended period of time, and be very consistent with your learning, because it's just going to take time to learn. So that's just how it is. I think you need to have that dedication and tenacity to keep learning and pushing through your problems, because you have a countless number of problems, most of which you have never seen before. Number 2, if you want to get into iOS development like me, you need a MacBook Pro. If not, any laptop or computer will do, honestly. You don't actually need a very good computer to learn how to code. All you really need is like a text editor. I would recommend Visual Studio. I know a lot of web developers use Visual Studio Code, but in my opinion, Visual Studio is the best IDE out there. If you're doing iOS development, obviously you need Xcode. At first I used to like Xcode, but then I started using Visual Studio for 2.5 months with C# and I fell in love with that. So I'm stuck in the iOS developer role right now, but hopefully at some point in the future I can switch to the dark side and get all in on C# or Flutter or something that I'm more interested in. But you know, I'm still interested in iOS development, and I'm happy that I got a job anyway. Another thing that I would recommend you getting, although it is not a hard requirement, is I would strongly recommend either getting a desktop or another monitor, a big monitor, because I think having 2 screens really improves your productivity. I think having 2 screens is extremely important. It's not mandatory, but I think it would make your life that much better. Next, also not mandatory, but something that I think would greatly improve your experience, is getting an external keyboard and a mouse. Next tip, Google, StackOverflow, and YouTube will be your like main sources of looking things up. Just learning how to find stuff is a good skill to have. Like learning what to search and like how to find stuff, or like how to describe problems, because a lot of times you might have a problem but you don't know what it's called, or like you need to learn how to do something, or like you need to put some sort of component in there but you don't know what it's called. So I think learning how to search for things and describe things in your search is a good skill to have, because it will definitely improve your speed in which you find stuff. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about, and I guess I would almost call this mandatory, is having the mindset of being willing to spend money on your education. I mean, if you think about it, boot camps, people spend $15,000 for 3 months. It's like $5,000 a month. Or you know, if you're going to 4-year college, it's like $30,000 to $50,000 for a 4-year program. So you know, if people are willing to spend that much money to learn how to become a developer, I think spending $10 to $100 on courses on Udemy is like a no-brainer. You know, when you're learning a new thing, often we don't know where to start. And so buying these courses to me, provides a great outline for what you should learn in what order. And of course, you should do your due diligence before buying one. Like all the courses that I bought are almost 5 stars. Thousands of people have bought them and have reviewed them before. And you know, you can look up the instructor and see their credibility. So I think buying these courses on Udemy were almost mandatory. I think they're invaluable. I mean, you can always go back to them later in the future. So you just buy it once and you have it forever. I think if you really want to take it seriously, on top of YouTube and whatnot, being willing to spend some money on courses is worth it. Next big tip would be don't stick only with your courses, as ironic as that may be. Build actual projects that you think would be fun or useful for you and other people to use, because those real life projects will teach you things that a regular course won't necessarily teach you, and you'll come across problems that you have never seen before because it's not in your tutorial or it's not in your course. And so that is another good opportunity for you to learn how to Google and learn how to Stack Overflow or YouTube solutions. So definitely building your own stuff and not just being stuck completely in tutorial land is extremely important. Last but not least, I think this is more of a holistic thing, but spend some time with yourself every once in a while and just ask yourself, like, am I really enjoying this? Am I really, like, is this really the lifestyle that I want to live? Is this something that actually brings me happiness? And if so, great, you can keep grinding away. You can keep hustling at your learning progression. But also, even if it is fun, make sure to take a break. I'm definitely the type of person who will not take a break. Like, there are so many days, I can't even count, where I sat on this computer for like 16 hours straight, nonstop. And I did that the very next day and I was okay. But I think it's important for you to go outside and like get some sunlight and, you know, say hi to the neighborhood dog or something like that, you know, just something to break up the monotony of it. So just enjoying other aspects of life, I think, is super important, which is actually why I started playing Pokemon Go. So yeah, if you guys want to add me on Pokemon Go, I'll leave my trainer code up here on the screen. But yeah, that's kind of what I do in order to take my breaks, is I play Pokemon Go and walk outside and get some sunlight. So yeah, guys, I think that's it for this video. I might have missed some things, but I'm not exactly like a good YouTuber. I'm just kind of using this channel as my outlet for sharing my life with friends and family and kind of documenting my journey. And hopefully I can share some things that can help any of you, if any of you can relate to me and my situation. If you're trying to become a software developer or make a career switch or make a mindset switch or do some sort of life change or improvement, those are more or less the things that I'm going for here. So if you liked it, I hope you can give it a like. If not, well, oh well, I'm just making these for me anyway. So I hope you have a great day. Hope you have a great life. Stay healthy, happy, and safe wherever you are in this world. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye.